Digital Circus is full of lonely people. Every character is traumatized by the very fact of their existence in a never-ending purgatory, and the only hope they have is each other. Episode 5 demonstrates just how important the relationship between the cast is. There we get to see the most interactions between the gang. While the cast has its highs and lows, with tensions between Jax and absolutely everyone else still being high, one particular relationship stands out, or rather lack of it, Ragatha's. Ragatha, despite being the most welcoming and friendly character out of all the circus members, continues to be isolated throughout the show, only forming surface connections that don't reach deep. With tensions rising in episode 5, we are left to wonder when she will reach her breaking point. Hello everyone, I am Serpentine, and in this video, we will explore Ragatha's loneliness. Pomni forming a genuine friendship with Jax versus an artificial bond with Ragatha, and how pleasing everybody is pleasing nobody. Digital Circus is a gem of indie animation that caught the hearts of thousands. It is praised for its style, humor, and complex characters. There are many aspects of the show that explain its success, but for me personally, it is the relationship between the characters that is at the very heart of Digital Circus. Suppose we strip the show of its bizarre setting and the absurdity of the situation. In that case, we are left with a group of people who are deeply lonely and desire companionship. Just in 5 episodes, Gooseworks established a fascinating dynamic between the main cast of the Digital Circus show and explored their unique character traits, giving each character their own episode and time to shine. Of course, it is not over yet, and we have, according to their creators themselves, the Jax episode left. Even so, they have got plenty of material to work with. Since we won't get a new episode in the near future, I've decided to do a video about a topic that deeply fascinates me, Ragatha and her relationship with the other members of the circus. Ragatha is nice. She is kind, thoughtful, and cheerful. She always thinks of others before herself and appears to put the well-being of her friends above her own. That is what she appears to be at first glance. And she is all these things, in a sense. Still, as the show progresses, the viewers and the characters alike start noticing the cracks in her carefully put facade and questioning just how much the person Ragatha presents herself to be is real and how much is just a role she plays. When the first episode aired, Ragatha was presented as the most level-headed and welcoming person out of the whole cast. Gangle and Kinga were too mentally unstable to assist Pomni. Jax perceived her arrival as a new form of entertainment, and Zubul was too mentally checked out to get involved. Plus, they were kidnapped. That's also an issue. The point is, it was Ragatha who took it upon herself to be Pomni's guide and explain the rules of the Digital Circus to her. It was Ragatha who tried to guide Pomni and make her feel welcome. In other words, she played the role of the tutorial NPC, for a lack of a better word. Sweet, helpful, and unthreatening, unlike Jax, whose behavior was antagonistic from the start. I've seen characters like Ragatha before. The nice people who are meant to support the protagonist and become their best friends. While the viewers got to see some troubling details of Ragatha's behavior in the first episode, specifically her refusal to get upset or angry over Pomni leaving her behind, I still assumed by episode 3 or 4, Pomni and Ragatha would form a close bond and become best friends. Because that's how it works, isn't it? Because Ragatha is nice. You would think so. But then Gooseworks took their relationship in a surprising direction and not only separated Pomni and Ragatha for episodes 2, 3 and 4, but also showed their bond not really going anywhere, and on top of that showing cracks in episode 5. Up to date, we are left with Pomni and Jax forming a resemblance of friendship, Zubul and Ganku already having a sweet bond, Kinga being Kinga, and Ragatha being left out. How did that happen? Well, the answer is easy and complex at the same time, and it all lies in Ragatha's approach to relationships with people. It is no secret that Ragatha wanted her and Pomni to become friends. She has been consistently trying to cheer her up and get her adjusted to the circus life. Sometimes Ragatha would go as far as to disregard her own well-being in favor of making Pomni comfortable, such as in the first episode when she was abstracted. Almost abstracted, but still. And that, I think, is the core of Ragatha's character. She will go to the extremes to please people around her, even if it is an illogical thing to do. Anybody else would have screamed for help and hurried Pomni to do something. As we know, Ragatha was in immense pain at that moment, but she chose to be calm and approach this extreme situation like something trivial. Ragatha, similarly to a lot of people in Digital Circus, wears a mask. The problem is that everybody else besides her is capable of seeing it. Her cheerful attitude and kind words do not hold the same value as those of other characters, precisely because she uses them all the time without putting any real meaning to them. That is not to say that Ragatha is secretly an evil genius or a sadist. I believe she is the sweet person she presents herself to be, and that she truly cares about other cast members. Her problem is that she doesn't let herself get a break and breathe. Ragatha is not honest with herself or the others. The role she plays, that of a kind helper and friend to everybody, is so deeply imbued in her being that I believe it became her coping mechanism, just as the mask of nihilism Jax wears. This role is highlighted in her interactions with the newest circus member, Pomni. As the newest cast member of the Digital Circus, Pomni has yet to form any meaningful relationship with the other members, which she successfully does during episodes 3 to 5. Pomni bonded with Gangle, showing her kindness during the stressful time as a shift manager. Her relationship with Kinger is the sweetest, and she looks up to him as a mentor or even a parental figure. Now we get to see Pomni and Jax forming a connection, which might lead to them becoming friends. Since her first time coming to the circus, Pomni has achieved a lot, and seeing as they all are crammed together in a prison they can't escape, there is no way Ragatha couldn't notice. I do think she is jealous that she wasn't able to become closer to Pomni, even though she put in all this effort as opposed to all other cast members, where it just happened naturally. And this is where we get to our problem. Ragatha tries too hard to win Pomni over, so much so that her constant attempts to seem cheerful, helpful and interested in what Pomni has to say seem unnatural. Pomni herself reacts to Ragatha's attempts to force their bond in moments, commenting on how she is an adult capable of making her own decisions. In episode 5, Pomni yet again reminds Ragatha that it is okay to express concern or negative emotions, which backfires when Ragatha snaps and talks back to Jax about his behavior. While I do think Pomni could have handled the situation better, it is important to acknowledge that Ragatha immediately pushes back and wears her polite mask after the outburst, bottling her negative emotions towards Jax. Pomni, due to her being in the circus shorter than the others, is sincere in all her interactions, and she is not afraid to push back, be it Jax with his insult or Ragatha with projecting her own feelings to Pomni. I think there is bound to be a moment in the future episodes where Ragatha snaps, since everything leads to it, and there is a huge possibility it is going to be caused by Jax, who acts the most antagonistic towards her. Jax is a foil to Ragatha. Both of them wear roles as coping mechanisms, the only difference being that Jax prefers to put on the bad boy charade and pretend to not care about others, while Ragatha pretends to only care about others. Some speculate that Jax started being nice to Pomni to make Ragatha angry and prove that her toxic positivity is fake. And in a sense it does work, since he and Pomni get along very well. It is a good question if this bond will last in future episodes, but for now, Jax definitely has the upper hand. The relationship between Jax and Ragatha is an interesting one, because both of them are alienated from the group, be it by choice or circumstances. But Jax proves he can easily form relationships when he tries, contrary to Ragatha, who acts insecure and jealous throughout the episode. The principal difference between them is that Jax is capable of showing vulnerability, even just for mere moments, while Ragatha struggles with that. Throughout episode 5, Jax showed a sincere interest in Pomni's opinion on 3 separate occasions, allowing his negative emotions or doubts to be shown. By contrast, Ragatha tries to spin her every interaction with Pomni as a positive one, almost as if to present herself as way more capable and reliable than she really is. An interesting scene occurs in the bar setting when jealous Ragatha tries to mimic the bond-forming experience Jax had with Pomni after his apology by mentioning the clearly traumatic episode with Kaufmo, which makes Pomni uncomfortable since she was partially to blame for that. Ragatha has nothing to work with since she and Pomni didn't have meaningful interactions that exceeded the surface-level pleasantries they've exchanged so far. In short, Jax provides the depth of bond that Ragatha is unable to form because of her toxic positivity mindset. Ragatha's main problem is that she is a work friend, someone you like spending time with during your working hours. You laugh at their jokes, talk near the coffee machine, and greet while bumping into each other in the office. But the moment the workday ends and you leave the building, you forget about her. Much like the sterile and lifeless office buildings, Ragatha has something artificial about her. She doesn't allow herself moments of weakness or genuine emotions besides positivity, which alienates her from the rest of the cast. They are stuck in digital hell. Of course it is normal to freak out and complain. People are made of many contradicting emotions that we are capable of experiencing at the same time. Every other cast member, except for maybe Pomni, wears a similar mask to Ragatha's in their attempt to cope with the nightmare of their existence. Jax pretends not to care about anything or anyone and chases only his own pleasure. Zubul acts like they don't have the energy to care about anything anymore. Kinga is safe in his insanity, and Gangle literally exchanges masks to show her emotions. Still, all of them allow moments where they are genuine people, sharing deep moments of weakness with each other. Pomni, as our protagonist, acts as the link between viewers and characters, as she is the one who often forms deeper bonds with the cast. It is through her eyes that we are allowed to see Gangle being crushed under her managing responsibilities, and Kinga being genuinely loving and brilliant. With Zubul, it is harder since they haven't interacted that much, but we as viewers are allowed to see them caring for Gangle. The thing is, Ragatha also cares. She wouldn't have tried so hard otherwise. But she is so entangled in her desire to be likable that she misses on chances to form genuine connections with the other circus members. Even Gangle comments on how hard it is to tell how much of her words she really means. People can't form friendships over just the surface interactions or pleasantries and compliments. It is important to feel that the person you want to become your friend is being genuine with you. And that is not the case with Ragatha. She has negative opinions about her fellow cast members, and she can be irritated with them as well. That is normal. That is human. The problem is that it takes some severe circumstances, like getting high on stupid sauce, to actually admit it. In short, people want you to be genuine with them. Jax, as horrible as he can be, allows himself to talk to Pomni without the persona he formed, and Pomni responds by getting closer to him. Ragatha struggles with being genuine. Hearing about her childhood with a clearly abusive mother, it isn't hard to understand where the problem comes from. It can't be speculated that always being nice and pleasant is Ragatha's coping mechanism to earn love and affection in a toxic environment. She tries very hard to never be a problem for others, but this fear is precisely what stops her from opening up. Ragatha is a fascinating character, and I can't wait to see where the story takes her. I rather like her and hope she can work through her problems and truly connect with the other circus members. Unfortunately for now, our lovely doll is stuck in a never-ending cycle of trying to become everybody's friend while not becoming anyone's friend. Thank you for staying up until the end. I love Digital Circus, and writing the analysis was fun. I have some ideas for videos about this show, specifically about Jax's persona he created and the coping strategies all members of the cast have. If you are interested in watching more videos regarding this topic, please write so in the comments. Well, that's all folks. See you in the next one.